helped me stabilize myself in that was the idea that if you do something well, you only need to do it once, right? So oftentimes I found with impatience, you just kind of, it's easy to get sloppy if you're being impatient. But if you kind of take time to think through it, plan it out, and really consider it, and do it from a place of calm, not a haste. And I know it's easier said than done. I've struggled with that a lot too. But it's kind of like doing dishes. It's when you do dishes, right? You could do it two ways. Well, you could, technically three. You could choose not to do it, but you could do it two ways. You could do it really well. You could kind of, clean all the cracks and make sure everything's clean. Or you could kind of just do them just to make sure that they're done and just kind of wash it. And, like when you have the screw-on caps on protein shake bottles and just any kind of bottles, and like the cracks between the cap and the bottle. Yeah, most people leave that unwashed just because you can't actually wash it properly. I mean, yeah. So I think having patience is like actually going down and washing that out to make sure it's done well with anything. Because how you do one thing is how you do everything. I'm actually quoting someone else with that, but how you do one thing is how it reflects on everything else, because you can only be one way, right? You cannot really be many different ways. You're one person and you're one expression, right? You're one. So oftentimes when you do something subconsciously, right, it translates to everything else that you do consciously. Because you can't really, wake up one day and do everything really well, and the next day you're tired and you kind of mess it up. Well, then you're just messing it up, because if you do everything well, how you do the dishes is kind of going to tell me how the person does everything else, okay? Because I don't know why, for whatever reason, I had that insight as I was doing dishes. Because before, as I was struggling with impatience, I was very impatient with that too. I'd kind of like wash it and just leave. And my mom was like, are you doing it just to get it done? Or are you doing it to make sure it's clean? Because they gotta be clean. So now I was doing them to make it clean, and I had headphones, so it was actually kind of fun. But then it hit me how that really translates to everything else, because I started doing everything else differently. And then I noticed that my having patience with other things translated to literally doing dishes differently. Maybe it's a strange example, but I think it's a two-way street, right? Because you could go from subconscious to conscious, or from conscious to subconscious, meaning that you could change the way you look at things and consciously choose to do them differently, or you could just do them without even believing in it. You can think, okay, this is really stupid, why am I doing this? You don't believe in it, but you're faking it till you're making it, and you're gonna make it. So how to have patience? Be present. Be present with everything that you do, even dishes, the smallest things. Because the smallest things is like making your mind is like a muscle. We want to train the muscle to be able to have the strength, to have the patience with everything that you do. And it starts with small things. Because if sometimes doing the big things is too much for us, right? It's overwhelming. So if you want to practice something, I believe that it's easier to start with something small and train yourself to be in that state of presence. And then when you are in that state and you train yourself to be in that state, gradually it's going to translate to other things as well. So I'd say you could just find what works best for you, like the littlest things. Just everything that you do on an everyday basis, that maybe you do on autopilot, try to get out of the autopilot and make sure that whatever you do, you are doing it 100%. You're doing it well. And if you find that maybe in that moment you cannot do it well, then take a break and do what you need to do. But make sure that if you do something, you do it 100% with emotional and mental investment. Because I think if you do something sloppy, then you're just going to have to redo it, or it's going to be incomplete. It's kind of like I was posting videos, very incomplete. Now I feel like just redoing it or deleting it, because I feel like it was incomplete. But if I took the time to think and to plan and to put things in correct order, I wouldn't have to feel that way. And I feel like it also actually increases your confidence. When you start to do things well, it increases your confidence. So literally, training yourself to have patience by being present in doing everyday things can also increase your confidence.